Today I'm trying to, I'm going to attempt, how about that, to turn up my injection pump on my OM617. It's got some, hood stack, it's got all the basic mods. I do have a Diesel Bombers oil filter relocator, and I just have it rudely mounted over here, but it makes it where I can have access to the back of the injection pump. I have turned it once, wasn't a big fan, wasn't enough, so I'm opening it back up and I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to get rid of these pain in the ass screws that are in the back side of it. I'm switching them to Allen's. I bought flange bolts and Allens. I'm going to see which one's going to be easier, but I am going to swap those out to something a little easier to deal with. I'm just going to make it a little easier to access stuff. The vacuum lines are pretty minimal on this as well. I have one for the transmission and one for the shutdown, and that is it. That is all I use. I don't use any of the power door lock vacuums, nothing like that. I do need to take out the vacuum shut-off solenoid out of the back of the injection pump, and that's what I'm going to do next. It's a 10 millimeter. This thing here will save you lots of time, and it is very convenient. I just drove this to Home Depot to get these bolts. I've had a fan on it now for about 20 minutes trying to cool it down, and it's good now. It's not ridiculous. Alright, so 4 bolts, all 10 millimeter. Like I said, I got to plug my phone in. Ignore me. Alright, so all 10 millimeter bolts. 4 of them to hold this in. Now you're going to turn it counterclockwise. You're going to pull out just a little bit, maybe an inch, and then turn it counterclockwise, and then it'll pull the rest of the way out. This here is what actually shuts off the car. So vacuum comes in here and sucks this plunger in, and that's what shuts down the car. So, and it only goes on one way. The cover has a little notch for the back of the injection pump. I'll show you that in a second. So I got 1 bolt left for the back of the injection pump. I'm gonna figure out where I put the strip. Like I said, it's these straight slots, and they are a pain in the ass. So, when you pull these bolts, you will lose oil, so be prepared to put oil in it. And I lowered this car, so the drain pan barely fits underneath. And that's it, is off. And that is the back of the injection pump. And that there is where your shut-off solenoid mounts. Set that so I can drip oil all over everything. Alright, now I'm going to loosen up what's called rack. It's like it's called rack travel is what it is, and it's how you adjust it. It's a 19 millimeter lock nut. There's also a 9 millimeter lock nut on the very end, and a 14 millimeter adjustment nut that you crank. Clockwise is increase fuel and counterclockwise is decrease fuel. I turned it a little bit I thought it would be a drastic change. It was not, so now I'm going to turn it a lot. And hopefully that. So, using 19 to take use a 19 socket for the lock nut, and then everything else I use a wrench on. It's a little more fine tuning at that point. It's kind of hard to show you how to do this. Maybe I can show you after I get it done. I'll just point it out after. But I said 19 to loosen the lock nut. You just crack it loose. It says finger at that point. And I need a 9mm. Should have laid the tools out. And I did. 14 for the other. So now that you got the 19, you take the 9, lock that loose, and then now take the 14 and do it by hand. Turn it up. Like I said, I'm going to make some big changes. As I did it before, I noticed very little. Let's see what happens. Right, so now I'm going to tighten everything back down. Start with the 9mm first. And then switch to 19 and lock it into place. Okay. So that one's done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do a different section. I'm going to do, it's called a torque limiter or torque. Pretty much defuels at higher RPMs. And I'm going to attempt to turn that one up. And I don't really know how to do it. It says, I've been reading forums. But you know those are a blast. Awesome job. So, it is a 21mm and a, I can't remember what the other size was. 21 and I believe a 13, but we'll see if it even is a 21. It's not a 21, so I don't know what time it is. This is the bad about using your phone for all your information. End of video.